Hello everyone! Welcome back to the 3D modeling lessons. This practical lesson for students of architecture and design specialties led for you by seminar teacher Domane Inessa. And today we are going to study how to convert objects into editable poly to create 3D models. And what is this editable poly or edit poly objects? The aims of today's practical work is to introduce into editable poly, modifying editable poly objects, and modify panel rollouts of editable poly objects. In the previous lessons, you have learned to create different 3D objects and shapes using the tools in the Create tab of the Command panel. In this chapter, you will learn how to modify 3D objects at an advanced level. Most of the objects can be modified at advanced level by converting into editable poly. When open splines such as line or arc are converted into editable poly, only vertex are available because open splines have no face or edge. When an object is converted into an editable poly, you get access to its sub-objects level. Those sub-objects levels help you to select the sub-objects of the object in the viewport. You need to move, rotate, and scale those sub-objects to modify the shape of the object. To convert any objects to editable poly, we have two options. First option is to create an object and select it in the viewport. Next, right-click on the objects, so quad menu will be displayed. Choose the Convert to option, a cascading menu will be displayed. Choose Convert to Editable Poly from the cascading menu. The object will be converted into an editable poly. We have second option is to create an object and select it in the viewport. Choose the Modify tab in the Command panel. The modifier stack will be displayed. In the Modify panel, in the modifier stack, right-click on the name of the tool which has been used to create the object. A shortcut menu will be displayed. Choose the Editable Poly option from the shortcut menu. The object will be converted into an editable poly. After an object is converted into an editable poly, using any of the above methods, it cannot be modified using the creation parameters rollout such as the parameters rollout. So it is recommended to set the parameters of an object before converting it into an editable poly. You need to use the following method to set the parameters of an object even after converting it into an editable poly. So you have to create an object and select it in the modifier stack. Next, click on the modifier list, drop-down list, and select Edit Poly from it. The Edit Poly modifier is applied to the object. After converting an object into editable poly, the name of the tool in the modifier stack will be replaced by Editable Poly. which is known as an object level. Click on the plus sign on the left side of Editable Poly to view the sub-objects level such as vertex, edge, border, polygon, and element. Various rollouts will also be displayed below the modifier stack, such as selection, soft selection, edit geometry, subdivision surface, subdivision displacement, and pane deformation. Other rollouts, such as edit vertex, vertex properties, edit edges, edit borders, edit polygons, polygon material IDs, polygon smoothing groups, polygon vertex color, and edit elements will also displayed, depending on the selection of the sub-object level. Vertex. A vertex is a point on an object. To modify the vertex of the object, select the vertex sub-object level from the modifier stack. The vertex of the object will be displayed in the viewport. The number of vertices depends on the number of segments in the object. You need to set the number of segments in the objects before converting the object into an editable poly. The sub-objects components such as vertex, edge, border, polygon, and element are not visible on rendering. Edge. The edge is a line joining two vertices. To modify an edge of the object, select the edge sub-object level from the modifier stack, and then select the edges of the object. Border. The border is a series of edges that forms a ring around a hole in an object. Polygon. A polygon is a closed sequence of three or more edges connected by a surface. To modify polygons of the object, select the polygon sub-object level from the modifier stack, and then select the polygons of the objects in the window. Sub-object element. The element is a group of two or more objects. To modify the element of an object, select the element sub-object level from the modifier stack, and then select element of the objects in the viewport. Modify panel rollouts of editable poly objects. When you convert an object into editable poly, various rollouts will be displayed below the modifier stack. The number and name of the rollouts depends on the selection of the sub-object level. Those rollouts are used to modify the objects at the sub-object levels we will discuss next. Selection rollout. In the selection rollout, there are 5 buttons: vertex, edge, border, polygon, and element. These buttons are used to select the sub-object of an object in the viewport and are same as described earlier. Choose any button to activate it. It is similar to selecting the sub-object level in the modifier stack. Shrink, Grow. The Shrink and Grow buttons are available for all the sub-objects level in this rollout. The Shrink button is used to reduce the selection area of the sub-objects in the viewport. The Grow button is used to increase the selection area of the sub-objects in the viewport. To use those buttons, select the Editable Poly object in the viewport, choose the Modified tab, and then select one of the sub-objects level in the modifier stack. Next, select the sub-object in the viewport. Choose the Shrink or Grow button in the selection Rollout. The selection area will decrease or increase in the viewport. Ring. The Ring button is available only for the edge and border sub-object levels. It is used to select all edges and borders of the object that are parallel to the selected edge. To do so, select an edge of the object in the viewport and choose the Ring button. All the edges parallel to the selected edge will be selected. Loop. The Loop button is available only for the edge and border sub-object levels. It is used to select all the edges or borders of the object that are aligned with the selected edge or border. To use this button, select an edge or a border of the object in the viewport, and then choose the Loop button. All edges or borders that are aligned with the selected edge will be selected. Preview selection area. This area is used to preview the selection of sub-objects in the viewport before actually selecting them. To do so, you need to use the options in the Preview selection area. By default, the Off Radio button is selected in this area. Therefore, the preview will not be visible in the viewport. The Sub-Object Radio button in this area enables you to preview the selection of the sub-objects at the current sub-object level only. To do so, select any sub-object level in the selection Rollout. Now select the Sub-Object Radio button in the Preview selection area. Next, move the cursor over the object. The corresponding sub-object will be highlighted in yellow color in the viewport. Click on this sub-object. The sub-object will be selected. If you need to select multiple sub-objects at a time, move the cursor over the objects and hold the Control key. Now move the mouse over the sub-object that you need to select. They will be highlighted. Click on them and release the Control key. The highlighted sub-object will be selected. Similarly, to deselect a sub-object from the current section, hold the Alt key and move the cursor over the sub-object that you want to deselect. It will be highlighted. Now click on it. The highlighted sub-object will be deselected. To deselect more than one sub-object, you need to hold the Alt plus Control keys. The Multi-Radio button in the Preview selection area works similar to the Sub-Object Radio button. Additionally, the Multi-Radio button enables you to switch among the sub-object levels in the Modify panel while selecting the sub-objects in the viewport. For example, if you move the cursor over the Polygon sub-objects in the viewport, then the polygon of the objects will be highlighted. Click on it. The highlighted polygon will be selected. Also, the Polygon sub-object level will be activated in the Modify panel. Similarly, If you select an edge, vertex or element in the viewport, then the corresponding sub-object level will be activated in the Modify panel. Therefore, you do need to manually switch among the sub-object levels. Soft Selection Rollout. This rollout enables you to display a soft selection on an object. The options in this rollout are used to affect the action of movement, rotation and scaling at sub-object level of the editable poly object. To activate this rollout, you need to select a sub-object level. Next, to activate the other options of this rollout, select the Use Soft Selection checkbox. When you select the sub-object of an object in the viewport, it shows the fellow in different color combinations. The influence of the colored zone is determined by the value set in the fellow spinner. The shape of the fellow is controlled by the value in the pinch and bubble spinners. Edit Vertices Rollout. If to select the vertex sub-object level, the Edit Vertices Rollout will be displayed in the Modify panel. The options in this rollout are used to edit the vertices of an object. To delete the vertices of an object, select them in the viewport and choose the Remove button. The vertices will be deleted. Alternatively, you can press the Delete key, but it will create a hole in the object. The Connect button is used to connect the two selected vertices by creating an edge between them. Choose the Remove Isolated Vertices button to remove the vertices that are not attached to any polygon in the object. Choose the Remove Unused Map Verts button to remove the vertices that cannot be used for mapping. The Weight spinner is used to set the weight of the vertex that specifies the smoothness toward the vertex in the output. The Extrude button is available for the edge, border, polygon, and element sub-object levels. It is used to extrude the sub-object either by dragging the cursor or by entering the value in the spinner. This option we will discuss later. The Chamfer button is available only for the vertex and edge sub-object levels. It is used to cut the corners of the sub-object at an angle of 45 degrees. You can chamfer the sub-object either by dragging the cursor or by entering the value in the spinner on the right side of the chamfer button. To do so, select the Editable Poly object in the viewport, choose the Modify tab, and then select the sub-object level in the modifier stack. Next, select the sub-object in the viewport. Choose the Chamfer button and move the cursor over the selected sub-object. The chamfer cursor will be displayed. Next, press and hold the left mouse button. Move the cursor up to the chamfer and release the left mouse button. The sub-object will be chamfered at an angle of 45 degrees. As you move the cursor, the chamfer value will be displayed in the spinner on the right side of the chamfer button. You can also enter the value directly in this spinner to chamfer the selected sub-object. The options in the Weld area are available only at the vertex sub-object level. It is used to weld or join the vertices of the object. The selected button in the weld area is used to weld the selected vertices. To perform the weld operation, select the Editable Poly object in the viewport. Choose the Modify tab and then select the Vertex sub-object level in the modifier stack. All the vertices of the object will be displayed in the viewport. By using the rectangular mark selection, select the vertices of the object which you need to weld together. Now set the value in the spinner located on the right side of the selected button to define the weld threshold area. All the vertices that you want to weld together must be inside this area. Choose a selected button. The vertices will be welded together. If the vertices are not within the weld threshold area, whose value you have defined in the spinner, the weld message box will be displayed. Warning that there is no vertex in the weld threshold area. Therefore, you need to increase the threshold area by modifying the value in the spinner, and then choose the selected button again to weld the vertices. The target button in the weld area is used to weld the selected vertices to the unselected target vertex. To do so, select the Editable Poly object in the viewport and choose the Modify tab. Now select the Vertex sub-object level in the modifier stack. All vertices of the object will be displayed in the viewport. Next, select the vertices of the object in the viewport by dragging a selection box around them. Then choose the target button and move the vertices toward the unselected target vertex, to which you want to weld the selected vertices. As you bring the selected vertices over the unselected target vertex, the cursor will convert it into a plus sign. Release the mouse button, the vertices will be welded to target vertex. Edit Edges Rollout. If you select the Edge sub-object level, the Edit Edges Rollout will be displayed. The options in this rollout are used to edit the edges of an object. The Insert Vertex button is used to add a vertex to the edge. To do so, choose the Insert Vertex button. The vertex of the object will be displayed in the viewport. Now click on an edge of the object. A new vertex will be created. Right-click to exit the command. To delete an edge of the object, select the edge in the viewport and choose the Remove button. The selected edge will be deleted. Alternatively, you can press the Delete key, but it will create a hole in the object. The Connect button is used to connect the two selected edges by creating a new edge between them. Choose the Settings button on the right side of the Connect button. The Connect Edges KD control will be displayed in the viewport. It is used to set the parameters of the additional edge created using the Connect button. The value in the segment spinner in the KD control is used to specify the number of new edges to be created in between the selected edges. The value in the pinch spinner is used to set the distance between the new edges. The value in the slide spinner specifies the position of the new edges. By default, the new edges are created at the center. To set the number of segments per chamfer, select an edge of the object in the viewport. Now choose the Settings button on the right of the chamfer button. The chamfer KD control will be displayed in the viewport. In this KD control, click on the down arrow of the chamfer type button. A flyout will be displayed with two options: Standard Chamfer and Quad Chamfer. The KD control displayed on choosing Standard Chamfer from the chamfer type flyout. The KD control displayed on choosing Quad Chamfer from the chamfer type flyout. Set the value in the edge chamfer amount spinner to specify the amount of the chamfering for the selected edge. The selected edge is chamfered with the standard chamfer type and quad chamfer type, respectively. Note that you need to move the cursor over the buttons to know their respective names. Set the value in the Connect Edge Segments spinner to define the number of the segments in the chamfer. More the number of the segments, more will be the roundness of the chamfer. The selected edge is chamfered with the standard chamfer type and quad chamfer type, respectively. You will notice that in the standard chamfer type there is no polygons created, equal to the value in the Connect Edge Segments spinner for each chamfered edge. However, in the quad chamfer type, there is no of polygons created are double the value in the Connect Edge Segment spinner for each chamfered edge. The Edge Tension spinner is activated only for the quad chamfer type. It determines the angle between the new polygons generated by chamfering edges between non-coplanar polygons. The chamfered edges with the value 1, 0.5 and 0 respectively in the edge tension spinner. The lower the value of the edge tension spinner, higher will be the angle between the new polygons generated by chamfering edges between non-coplanar polygons. If you select the Open checkbox, the polygons which are created by chamfering process will be deleted. The Invert Open spinner located at the right of the Open spinner is activated only when the Open checkbox is selected and the Quad chamfer type is chosen. Select the Invert Open checkbox. All the polygons except those created while chamfering will be deleted. Click on the down arrow of the Smooth Type button. A flyout will be displayed as choose the desired option from the flyout and then select the Smooth checkbox at the left of the Smooth Type button to smoothen the portion as per the option chosen from the flyout. The value of the smooth threshold spinner ranges from 0 to 180. The more the value of the smooth threshold spinner, higher is the smoothness. Create Shape from Selection button in the Edit Edges rollout is used to create a spline shape from the selected edges. To do so, select the edges of an object in the viewport and then choose the Create Shape from the Selection button. The Create Shape dialog box will be displayed. Enter a name in the Curve Name text box for the newly created shape. Select the Smooth or Linear Radius button to create a smooth or linear curve. Next, choose the OK button. A spline will be created aligned with the selected edges. Bridge button. When two edges are selected, bridge command, connecting them with a polygon. Edit Borders Rollout. On selecting the border sub-object level, the Edit Borders rollout will be displayed. The options in this rollout are used to edit the border of an object. The Cap button is used to create a polygon to cap the selected border of the object. To do so, select the border of the object in the viewport and then choose the Cap button. A polygon will be displayed to cap the border. The other options in this rollout are the same as described earlier in this chapter. Edit Polygons Rollout. When you select the polygon sub-object level, the Edit Polygons rollout will be displayed. The options in this rollout are used to edit the polygons of the object. The Outline button is used to increase or decrease the outside edges of the selected polygons. Choose the Settings button on the right of the Outline button. The Outline carry control will be displayed in the viewport. Set the value in the Amount spinner to specify the increment or decrement of the outside edge of the selected polygon. Choose the OK button to apply the function and exit the Outline dialog box. The Insert button in the Edit Polygons rollout is used to insert outside edges of the selected polygons. Choose the Settings button on the right of the Insert button. The Insert carry control will be displayed in the viewport. Set the value in the Amount spinner to specify the amount of insert. Next, click on the arrow placed on the Group button. A drop-down list will be displayed. Select the Group option to insert the group of the polygons. Select the By Polygon option to insert the polygons in the group individually. Choose the OK button to apply the function and exit the carry control. The Flip button in the Edit Polygons rollout is used to flip the direction of the selected polygons. The Hinge from Edge button is used to create a hinge on the selected polygon along the edge. To do so, select the polygon of the object in the viewport and choose the Hinge from Edge button. Now move the cursor on an edge of the selected polygons and drag the cursor in the vertical direction. The hinge will be created. You can also create a hinge on the polygon using the Settings button on the right side of the Hinge from Edge button. To do so, select the polygon of the objects in the viewport and choose the Settings button. The Hinge from Edge carry control will be displayed in the viewport. The value in the Angle spinner is used to specify the angle of rotation. You can set a positive or negative value in the spinner. The segment spinner is used to specify the number of segments in the selected polygon. Choose the Pick Hinge button to activate and click on an edge of the selected polygon in the viewport. The hinge will be created. Choose the OK button to close the KD control. Extrude along Spline button in the Edit Polygons rollout is used to extrude the polygons of an object along the spline in the viewport. To do so, select a polygon of the Editable poly object in the viewport. Now choose the Settings button on the right side of the Extrude along Spline button. Extrude along Spline KD control will be displayed in the viewport. Choose the Pick Spline button in the KD control to activate it and then select the spline in the viewport. The selected polygon will be extruded along the spline. Set the parameters of the extruded spline using the option in the Extrude Polygons along Spline KD control. Extrude button is used to extrude the subobjects either by dragging the cursor or by entering the value in the spinner. To do so, select the Editable poly object in the viewport, choose the Modify tab, and then select one of the sub-object levels in the modifier stack. Select the sub-objects in the viewport and choose the Extrude button to activate it. Now move the cursor over the selected sub-object. The Extrude cursor will be displayed. Next, press and hold the left mouse button and move the cursor up or down for the extrusion. The value for the extrusion will be displayed in the spinner on the right of the Extrude button. You can enter the value directly in the spinner to extrude the selected sub-object. To extrude multiple sub-objects simultaneously, select sub-objects by holding the Ctrl key and then execute the Extrude command. You can also enter a negative value in the Extrude spinner for negative extrusion. Bevel button is available only for the polygon and element sub-objects level. It is used to extrude the bevel an object. This button can perform the extrude and bevel functions at the same time. You can bevel the sub-objects either by dragging the cursor or by entering the value in the spinner on the right side of the bevel button. To do so, select the Editable mesh objects in the viewport, choose the Modify tab, and then select one of the sub-objects level in the modifier stack. Next, select the sub-objects in the viewport and then choose the Bevel button. Next, move the cursor over the selected sub-object. The Bevel cursor will be displayed. Now press and hold the left mouse button and move the cursor up or down to extrude the sub-object. To bevel the sub-object, release the left mouse button and then again move the cursor up or down again to change the shape of the sub-object. At this point, we finish our today's lesson. And in the next practical lesson, we'll continue to introduce with the Modify panel for sub-objects. We'll take a look at Edit Geometry Rollout and create first interior scene with furniture using polygonal modeling. And in this practical session, we learn introducing to editable poly, modifying editable poly objects, and we have studied Modify panel rollouts of editable poly objects.